Hello guys, today we'll talk about some team leading stuff. So let's imagine that you are team lead. I mean not a technical leader on some project where you have dedicated team that you are looking for. But when you are a team lead in your company and you have different people who is really working on different projects and you would like to let's say to increase expertise of your team in some topics and you would like to have a control over that. So what is possible for us to do? So first possible idea that we could implement is, for example, have some kind of events, call it idea exchange. It's when you are, for example, preparing one Google Doc. In this Google Doc, each one of the developers trying to put some, let's say, topics that they would like to learn, or they could see that on the project they will need to have some kind of overview for that for the future. And after that, once this doc with initial topics will be completed, what we could do is we could assign it to the different team members and ask them, for example, once a week, share their investigation around this topic. So the problem is that if people's working already on the project and if they not touching really the topic, so that means that it will be additional effort for them required to investigate that specific item. And if there will be no any kind of, let's say, motivation for them to prepare that speech, so after some period of time you will see that no one actually wants to pick up topics from the document and perform it. So only one, let's say, possible way it's to include it into the responsibility of developers, right? Like, for example, for them to once per month, for example, to proceed with a couple of topics or one topic, right? For them as step for their next promotion. Let's say when you will review, for example, salary rate, what is possible to do is, for example, they need to do well on the project, like for example, and study some certain topics, and the way how you will confirm that they learned those topics, it will be those idea exchange. So it's one way. So second possible way, it's when you will include some kind of, let's say, separate metric for this kind of stuff. Like for example, you will have some kind of bonus, and for this bonus, people will be able to understand, right? So it should be clear, let's say, well, what kind of topics, what kind of bonus, and in that manner you will also be able to motivate. But even with that solution, let's say in my past experience, we were able to see that with both of them sometimes there are troubles. Like for example, people are not really motivated to perform it because it's usually you need to investigate and learn something which is not necessary for your project in near future. And even if you did some kind of overview for the topic soon, it will go out from your head and you will just forget it. So in that case, what we decided to do, or what is possible to do, is to use another approach. And another approach is when we're doing something called case studies. So that means that each developers, let's say, every day on their projects have different kind of challenges. Like for example, mixed DML exceptions, situations when some of them have big data volume. Someone just tried, for example, OmniScript. For somebody it was necessary to learn velocity and other stuff. So in that situation, what is possible to do is, if those guys will be able to actually provide information about what was their challenge or what was their case on the project and how they actually addressed it, it will be interesting to share with the team because they did it anyway, right? And if in parallel they just will, let's say, document their investigations, then well, what it will be useful, right? It's just to share it for the team. And when we're doing the shares, right, we should include actually entire investigation, let's say, way. Like for example, we could describe a problem, we could describe what was our initial thoughts, how to fix it based on our expertise that was at the beginning of that issue or at the beginning of the challenge. And after that, what we are doing is we could actually include into this document what was our investigations. Like for example, we tried one solution and it's not working. we try a different solution and it's not working. Then in documentation we found that, and like we were able to actually implement it. Like for example, at this moment, let's imagine that some developer have a case where on their project they have in use Experience Cloud. They have in use objects like for example incident, and their expectation was that when they will create a form for the creation of incident, I mean custom one, with help of Velocity, they will be able to actually with that user create those incident object records in Salesforce. But what's actually happening is when they go into the portal, when they log it in as the portal user, even if they provided read accessibility for that object, because if I remember correctly, at this moment there are no access for create records for the incident object on the Experience Cloud. And when, for example, they started to test that form, so in that form they were able to see that like error happening, the actual incident record is not becoming created. So in that case, when they started to investigate it, right, they tried different solutions. For example, they tried to do some kind of API call. They realized that then they will use, like for example, limits, and at the end they realized that maybe what is the right way to do so is, for example, to implement a platform event. So each time when they trying to insert a new incident from the Experience Cloud, they are firing platform event. That platform event trigger actual creation of the incident record, and because the platform events are becoming executed via automation user, so that means that specific code started to work. And in that case, that developer could actually share with other guys, let's say, what could be possible problems with objects not fully supported via Experience Cloud. And at the same manner, what is possible to do is to share another topic, right? That the platform event are actually executed via automated user, and this automated user have much more access than regular Experience Cloud user. So in that manner, that means that other developers could note for them that what is possible to use. It's to actually use situation when there might be Experience Cloud implementation for different kind of objects, but what it will do, it will actually run creation of the actual platform events. And in case that automation user have exact access to be able to let's say create necessary records, so in that case that architecture will work. So when the developer starting to share in those kind of topics, it's real case scenarios, right? So they are always interesting to observe, because like if at the beginning a developers let's say describe his case, right, everyone could take a look and think about how they will address that issue, right? And in case that we are, let's say, limited at time, right, so the developer could give 1 or 2 minutes to other person to just think in their head about the solutions that they will apply, and then he could proceed with explanation, like how he actually investigated it, how he actually resolved that that specific issue. So with that case, what we were able to see that it's much more easier for developers to share their experience. And in that case, what is possible for team lead to do also is to prepare the actual knowledge base. So let's say if we are requesting all of the developers actually record those sessions, like if we for case studies, and we could group them between different tags. Like for example, in our case, we discussed platform events usage, not supported Experience Cloud objects, and Experience Cloud. So that means that in the future, all developers in that company, even who is not under the team, could actually use this public company knowledge base. So they could use this public knowledge base, which will be prepared by different teams. At the end, the actual knowledge base will be very big, and it will help like developers to quickly find solution to the common issues. And we found that it's really useful solution to share knowledges like this. Of course, there are like if in your company you are using situation when to grow from one level to another, you need to pass some assessment based on the skill matrix. Of course, in that skill matrix you have your own let's say, topics to learn, and sometimes they are not actually correlates with the stack of technologies that you have on your project. So that's, you know, like different topic and mostly idea exchange and bonuses, or for example requirements for you to have a couple of public speeches